How to no contact correctly. Okay, what is no contact? And why are we talking about this? No contact is a short term for a behavior that we engage in. It's like an exercise that is recommended to people when they're in a relationship that is toxic, unhealthy, has very difficult dynamics, they're struggling to break free of it, etc. And the act or the exercise of no contact is just like the name sounds. You have no contact with them. And no contact, there's no gray area here. There's no slipping around, dodging, maybe exceptions, whatever. I see people telling me they're in no contact all the time. And then you find out that it's like, oh, I'm still watching his feed on Instagram. I'm still liking his posts. Oh, we just talk once a month now, whatever. No, that's not no contact. Or it is, it's just a violation and you're deceiving yourself. So no contact has a very specific purpose. First, let's talk about all the BS we see on social media about this. People say, use no contact to get your ex back. Okay, what's that about? And it's like, oh, well, that is this idea that if I just cut off all contact, like I want the attention from my ex because our relationship is going through another breakup phase, and I want them to want me and crave me and want to come back to me. And so if I just cut off all contact, then they're going to miss me so incredibly. And then they're going to eventually realize how wonderful I was in their life. And they're going to realize they can't live without me. And then they're going to come running back, groveling, and they're going to be on their knees being, please take me back. Please take me back. That's the dream. That is the bullshit snake oil that these people are peddling. Don't do that. That's not no contact. It's not healthy. That is a straight up premeditated manipulation. Why? Because you're scared. Ugh. Okay. Maybe I'll come back to that. Maybe I won't. Just don't do that. Manipulation will toxify that relationship sure as anything. Okay. Other ones they'll be like, oh, no contact is just something you do when your relationship needs to take a breather or a break. And it's like, you're still together, but you're just going to go through this period of time where you're just not really communicating for a little while so you can each kind of get your head straight. No, that's not no contact either. That is just taking a break. No contact is much more specific than that. Here's another one. People will be like, oh yeah, I've been doing no contact for the past week. How long? Since Monday. It's Friday. That's 5 days. Well, yeah, it's like a week. No, it's a work week. Plus, no contact has a very specific timeline. It is 90 days minimum, probably 180. We'll talk about that in a second. So no contact is not short. It's not manipulative. It's not about the other person. No contact is something I do to bring balance and regulation and into my own nervous system. It's a hack. This is like a life hack of life hacks. What is this about and why do we engage in it? The brain has reward circuitry in it. Go check out Andrew Huberman's stuff on this. There's a lot of people talking about it. We've got these dopamine reward circuits that basically, if I engage in a certain thing, then I'm going to get this prize at the end. And the prize I get at the end is validation, sex, companionship, cuddles, whatever, right? And what we find is these people that are all wrapped up and enmeshed into this relationship, and they don't know how to extricate themselves. They say, I'm in this relationship. I love this person immensely. They love me immensely. But we've got all these toxic dynamics. We're fighting all the time. We've got this dissatisfaction all the time. He's being avoidant. He's checking out and I need more. He's not giving me what I want. She's giving me too much, blah, 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 right? These are all the common things we hear in relationship problems. And now this person and they're like, help us. What can we do to help this relationship get better? So that's one place where we use it. The other place where we use it is the relationship has actually reached its end point and they're breaking up. And now they are technically broken up, but yet one or the other is still ruminating on their ex constantly. It's just like, oh my God, like, I know we've split, but I just can't stop thinking about him. I can't stop, thinking about memories of things that we did together, the joy that we had. And it's like, okay, maybe the problems weren't so bad. And then they go back. And then maybe the worst of these cases is the one where those two are actually mixed together, which is you've got the person that says, I'm with this person, our relationship doesn't work. He's not giving me the kind of attention, love, validation, whatever that I need. I feel chronically dissatisfied with this relationship, but yet I go see him all the time. And when he comes to see me, I welcome him with open arms. We have amazing sex. And then he checks out and he disappears again. And then I feel like crap. Okay, so I'm not getting enough, so I'm going to break up with him. And then they break up with him. And then the rumination begins. And it's just like, I can't stop thinking about him. I can't stop missing him. Maybe it wasn't really that bad. I'm going to go back. And they go back and they get together. And then you'll see these people that do this. They get together, it's chaos. They break apart, they can't stop thinking about each other. They get together, it's chaos. They split apart. It's like, this, my friends, is an addiction. It functions inside the brain the exact same way that a heroin or cocaine addiction operates. You've got these reward circuitries in the brain that are giving you this jolt of happy juice at the end of it. And what allows that neural pathway to begin firing so that you'll get the happy juice is connection with this other person. You are addicted to the idea of them. You're not actually addicted to them because you probably don't even know who they are. You're addicted to the idea of them. And what's more, you're addicted to this fantasy belief of the benefit that they're bringing to your life. I did this. This is something I did chronically in my past. Decades, this was the way my relationships operated. And I would go through one addictive phase after another. And I would just believe that, oh, this is just love. This is what love feels like. This is just, I'm just more passionate than other people. I'm more sensitive than other people. I'm more romantic and loving and blah, 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 right? I would just had this whole romanticized fantasy about these utterly toxic dynamics that I was engaged in time after time after time. That's behind me now, does not influence my life. And now that I can see it with clear eyes and a clear mind, it's like, wow, I wish I had my time back. I wish I could go back there and teach that younger me how all this stuff operates. And that's why I'm here making these videos. This thing you see in relationships is an addiction. The I can't stop thinking about them is an addiction. The we are in this toxic dynamic and we are chronically dissatisfied, but yet we can't actually separate. That's an addiction. And so no contact is a tool that we bring to bear for situations where addiction is at play. We would do the same thing for a substance abuse problem. You need to abstain from that substance until such time as those neural pathways that give you the happy juice at the end, that those stop operating the same. And so you can think of it as like, we kind of know this idea that like you take a person and they have an accident and they can't walk. And then they sit in a wheelchair and then the muscles in their legs begin to atrophy. This is literally an organic system looking around at the raw materials that are inside the system, inside the body, and be like, look, we've got all this material, all these proteins, all these amino acids, all this stuff in the muscles of these legs, and they haven't been used in a really long time. So let's start just kind of harvesting some of this material to fuel the rest of the system. And this is the process of atrophication of muscles. And we've got every evidence that supports the idea that neural pathways atrophy the same way. If you do not activate a neural pathway for a long period of time, the system will eventually say, there's resources here that we could use elsewhere. This is being unused. This is inefficient. It's taking up space and energy and calories and everything else. We don't need it anymore. So let's begin harvesting it a little bit at a time. And since a neural pathway is really like a long series of neurons, it's not like the neurons themselves get reharvested. It's that they basically say, you're a fully functioning, great little neuron. We're happy to have your service, but you're all locked into this thing over there that's just got cobwebs on it. So here, come over here, and we're going to use you for these other pathways that we need you for. So this is kind of neuroplasticity at work. But as long as that pathway is being operated, activated, used at all, the system will be like, oh yeah, it's in use. We can't harvest it yet. It gets used sometimes. It's not really common. It's only once a month, once a week, whatever. It's only when we scroll on social media, whatever. So the reclaiming process will not begin. The atrophication of the neural pathway will not begin until it is unused for a long enough period of time. That period of time appears to be 90 days. And in my own experiments with this, when I had massively addictive processes driving my life around, 90 days is the first day that I woke up and realized I didn't crave it today. I think it was actually day 93. And so what had happened is I'd gone through day 1 and day 2 and day 3 and day 5 and day 10 and whatever. I had a little tracker on my phone that was basically counting every day of victory that I did not go back to my addictive agent, which in that particular case, that one time was a video game, which was super embarrassing, but whatever. And so it was like every day was a victory. Every day was like, I crave it, and I would resist the craving. Every day the craving would happen. I'd go do push-ups. I'd go for a walk. I would find some other way to consume my time and energy to move away from this thing that I craved so desperately. The craving was very consistent every day. And it was this like, it probably diminished a little bit right before that kind of day 93. But I think it was day 93 because I remember looking at my phone that it was like, I'm kind of at the end of the day, I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I see this thing that says 93 days, and I have that little jolt of like victory dopamine, like I did a thing, but I'm just like, wait a second, I don't think I craved it once today. I don't recall having a single moment where it was just like I had that impulsive craving desire inside me to go back and do that thing. And so that was the beginning of the reclamation process. That was the beginning. I feel like that was the day my brain said, oh, this neural pathway is so old and so unused that we don't need it anymore, and could begin the process of reclaiming it. And then in my journey, it took another 90 days after that. So 180 total, 6 months. And it was the end of 6 months later was I kind of looked at myself, looked at my life, looked at the way my thoughts were operating, especially in reference to this addictive agent. And I felt very calm, neutral, maybe a little bit apathetic about it. And I was just like, I can continue from here. I don't feel like I'm struggling anymore. I don't feel like I'm fighting anything. I'm now in a place where I feel like that thing is behind me and I can move forward. And so from that exercise of me fighting an addiction, I've now worked with many other people that fight substances, relationship addiction, validation addiction, many others. And we've kind of watched the process unfold as they go through this period of time of abstention. And sure enough, if they can stay on target, if they can successfully avoid activating those neural pathways, sure enough, about 90 days in, somewhere between 85 and 100, they will say, wow, I feel like it doesn't actually, I'm not craving it right now. I'm okay with it not being in my life. It's not really something I'm wanting. It's still there, and I still have some aversion to it. I feel like it still has power, but I actually have agency over myself right now. And then most of the time, if I'm working with a client at that stage, they kind of self-select out and they say, okay, they go off on their own recognizance and they work on their own life. And I might talk to them a few months later and they continue to make progress with this. And there's a handful of clients that have reconnected after a year or two later, and they're just like, yeah, that does not have any grip on me anymore. So when we look at this relationship addiction dynamic and the whole no contact strategy, we have to recognize what it's about and why we use it. No contact is not just some trick that we do to get our ex back. That's manipulation and toxic. It's not just something we do for a short period of time. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do no contact for a week so I can clear my thoughts. No. Then as soon as you re-engage, it reactivates the neural pathway and the clock resets. This is a key thing to understand about no contact. Every moment that you engage with that person in any way, you look at a picture of them, you hear their voice, you see their profile photo on social media, you see their pictures scroll past you, you see their phone number, you see their contact, you talk to them, whatever. Every time you have any exposure to that person, it reactivates the neural pathway and the clock resets. Every time. So most people, and this is really tragic, most people engage with no contact and then they don't see returns. And they say, I tried no contact and I'm still in the same misery. It's like, yeah, that's because you didn't do it correctly. And that's why I'm here, to help people understand that if you engage at all, the clock will reset and you will not see the benefit. You have to have complete and total abstention from that neural pathway that has to do with that person. And it's actually, in reality, it's many, many neural pathways. There's one for talking, and there's one for sex, and there's one for, finances and future planning and everything else. You have to have complete and total abstention. All right, start there. You need to have complete and total abstention from that neural pathway. Okay, so how do we do this? We find their phone number, we block it, and then we delete it. So even if there was some mechanism by which they could reach me, I wouldn't see their name or their face or their profile photo. I need to take all profiles on social media, block those, so that they can't reach me and I can't reach them. I need to take all photos I have of them, all voice notes, all recordings, all everything, and you can destroy them if you want, but like lots of times that's too much for people, and that's fine. Just gather them all, like be very intentional about this. Gather all information related to this person and like collect it into a box, lock that box up and lock it up somewhere. Put it in an online account. If you are serious about this, which I really hope you choose to be because the payoff is phenomenally good. If you're serious about this, get an accountability partner. Treat it just like an addiction. Someone trying to break smoking, stop drinking, get off crack, whatever. Get an accountability partner. Get someone that you can talk to and say, I am struggling today. I've got tremendous compulsion inside me to reach for the him or her or the fix or whatever. That will increase your chances of success immensely. And then if you want an extra dose of good statistical benefit, you gather up all this data that you have from this person and you literally put it in the hands of someone that knows your goal. So I'm going to gather up all my photos, all my voice notes, everything I've got about this person, and I wrap it up into a big, buy an external hard drive, put it all on the hard drive, and then I hand the hard drive off to one of my buddies, and I say, I am stepping into no contact. I'm doing this as a way of life hacking my nervous system into regulation, and I cannot see anything on this hard drive or have any contact with that person for the next 6 months. Will you help me with this? And they're just like, sure. And they take the hard drive, label it, stick it in a drawer somewhere, and then a year later, you'll go looking for it and be like, wow, this is My experience of viewing this voice note, listening to the voice notes or watching the photos, or my experience engaging with all of this is completely different than it was at the day that I gave them the hard drive. Another thing you need to do, you need to wrap up, you need to dig through your living environment, and you need to find every single item that reminds you of this person. And you need to gather it up and do the same thing. Put it in a box, hand it to a friend. I can't see any of this for the next 6 months. I'm not going to destroy it. I'm not going to throw it away. I'm not going to cut off forever. This is a life hack that I engage in for my own future self. This is something I'm doing as an act of self-love for future me. And it is one of the strongest actions I can take for my mental and emotional well-being. Not even kidding. If we rank up all the possible things you can do for your mental health, a correctly executed no contact is up at the top. It's probably in the top 3. If it's not number 1, it's probably top 3. Because you're giving your brain a chance to heal. And one of the great tragedies I've seen in this is being with people that are truly miserable and they're truly going through just very, very difficult relational dynamics. They know that they want the relationship to be different. They know it probably needs to end. They know all this stuff. And then they'll take a couple of initial actions towards no contact, like move to another country or, block them on social media or something, right? And then I'm like, great, good for you. I'm here for you. I'll be your accountability partner. I'll help you go through this. Whenever you're in doubt, reach out to me. I'll help encourage you and all that kind of stuff. A week later, they're talking about, oh, well, I just, I heard from my ex. How did you hear from your ex? Oh, well, he had this thing going on with his mom. Oh, yeah, his mom died. And then he just really wanted me to know about it. And yeah, that's really important for me to hear. And it's like, no, now you have to reset the clock. And they're like, no, I don't. No, people just don't understand what's going on here. They do not understand how the physiology of their brain works and how no contact is an incredibly effective tool for that, as long as it's executed correctly. Any violation of the abstention will reset the clock. And now you've got to start over and do another 90 days. And so what most people do is they give up and they stay in misery, and then they'll poo-poo the idea of no contact as not being effective or not working. And it's just like, okay, it's your life. It's your misery. You can stay there as long as you want. But for people out here that are watching this video, especially if you watched up to this point, and you have a relationship that needs some kind of adjustment, some kind of reset, some kind of, it's not satisfying now, we're not happy or healthy now, and we want to do something different, this is how you do it. You need to cut any and all contact, gather up all reminders, anything that is associated with that person. Associated, right? In my brain, like maybe, the smell, right? I've got a smell of a massage oil or a perfume that my partner used. And now that is something that first time I smelled it, or the most intense experiences I had, is when that partner's around. I need to exonerate that from my life. Maybe I've got a book that we read together or movies that we watched together. I need to block all those. I've got a couch that we sat on. I mean, I'm not kidding here. This is serious work, but it pays off. Like seriously, this will end your issues. We're sitting on a couch. This is the couch we sat on when we were together for 3 years, watching these sweet romantic comedies. And now we're broken up, and I walk into that room and I see that couch and I sit on it and I try to watch Netflix. No, you are activating that neural pathway. There is, I'm loath to even offer an alternative. There is an alternative here, but you really need to understand how the physiology works. The alternative is that you need to have a very intense time right at the very beginning where you find say it's a couch and you don't want to get rid of the couch. Because the best answer is you move. I'm not even kidding. The best answer for this, if you have a history of relationship addiction and very intense enmeshed relationships and struggle with breaking up and struggle from detachment, which is all reflective of your unresolved attachment wounds. If this is the history you're in, then moving is a very appropriate response to this because it will give your nervous system a chance to reset. But if you take that reset to just go chase another person down and get in another, monkey branch to a new addiction, then, well, we know how that goes. Okay, so let's say you're in a situation where there's the couch and you can't really get rid of the couch, or you don't want to, or you don't want to move, or it's impractical or whatever. Then you're stuck, and now you're in plan B. Plan A is the best plan. Plan A is move. Plan A is completely take yourself out of that, every aspect of that environment that you have associated with that person. The town, the restaurants you ate at, the roads you drove down, the kind of car you drove, everything. Every single thing that has an association with that person, get rid of it. Move away from that and allow your brain to heal. So for some people, this would be like taking an extended vacation. Go take a vacation for a month. That will kickstart the process, and then watch what happens. You come back, you get in the same car, and you're like, oh, I remember this. And you're driving down the road, and you're like, oh, I remember driving down this road, holding her hand, looking at that stop sign, and being madly in love. You're just like, fuck, I just did it again. I just activated the pathway. And you're like, Kirby said I have to reset the clock. Kind of, yeah. At that point in time, if it's minor and it's in passing and you can kind of get back to a normal life, it probably won't be a full reset. But because that's just spinning in my brain. If I'm actually interacting with that person, I see their face, smell their perfume, whatever else, yeah, that's a full reset. If you're talking to them on the phone, full reset. If I'm watching videos of them on internet, full reset. But a passing memory of a stop sign and holding hands, that's like we can survive that one. That's part of the breaking the addiction process. So plan A is cut off all situations that could possibly remind me of this person. Plan B is that it's just like, there's many aspects of my life and my livelihood and where I live and everything else where that's impossible. And so then you got to do plan B, and plan B is harder and less effective. Plan B is I have to intentionally create a series, like many experiences with that thing that have no connection to my ex at all. So say it's a couch. I need to start having parties every night, every week, whatever. I need to bring over lots of crazy ass friends that are going to do wacky hijinks, and we're going to jump up and down on the couch, and we're going to watch stupid movies that I would never watch with my ex and whatever. And we're going to tell stories, and we're going to have connection, and we're going to have laughter. That's a big one, because the way that laughter helps encode memories. Something silly, emotionally extreme, positive, and just jam pack the following days and weeks with experiences that have nothing to do with my ex, that are filled with joy, laughter, fun, and that thing that reminds me of them. And now I've got new memories inside my brain that when I go sit on the couch, it's not just romantic movies cuddling with my ex. I've also got that weird time the guy did a backflip and then, tore his pants open or something, tipped over the popcorn bowl. That kind of crap, right? And then I can go through my life on every aspect where I've got memory with them. And if I can fill that very intentionally with high intensity emotions in the weeks immediately after the break, I will now have new memories in there that will kind of be sorted through when the memories come. Like when I'm driving down the street, I see the stop sign, holding hands. And it's like, well, that stop sign now has a sticker on it of my favorite metal band because I put it there. And now I'm like, oh, right. I just broke the law. I put a sticker on the stop sign. And every time I see that stop sign now, I'm going to be reminded that it's just like, I did that thing. And that's going to jump out at me, hopefully, sooner or faster than the holding the hands memory. And it won't re-engage that neural pathway. I've now created an alternate neural pathway next to it that's also associated with the stop sign. Understanding the physiology of this stuff is magic. And I tell you, this is how I freed myself. Like getting into the physiology and understanding the actual mechanisms of how memories form, how associations become dominant, how emotions determine the intensity of memories. Understanding all this stuff was like magic for me. It gave me the escape velocity out of my trauma loops that no amount of talk therapy or coaching workbooks or blah, 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 any of that other stuff helped. It did not help. This is the thing that allowed me to get out, was understanding the physiology and then intentionally hacking my brain so that I could operate free from the addictions that grabbed me. And of course, there's this whole other angle to this, the Gabor stuff, which is like, don't look at the addiction, look at the pain. And that's another key part of it, is that all of this stuff, the whole reason I needed no contact was because of my addiction to validation and attention from women, or yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And so digging into that and understanding that it's like the whole reason this addiction is plaguing me and the whole reason I need to no contact to begin with is because I have wounds inside me that are unresolved, and I've just been distracting them for years. I've just been avoiding them, numbing out, choosing different ways to kind of avoid the pain that is associated with those wounds. And one of the biggest ways I can avoid that pain is getting into a new relationship that's going to validate me. And now we begin to understand that that relationship wasn't even about love at all. It was that like, I'm using you as a distracting, numbing agent to avoid the pain that I feel inside. And that's one of the reasons I'm addicted to this relationship to begin with, is because not only do I lose my friend, not only do I lose my cuddle partner, sex partner, whatever, I'm also losing the tool that allows me to avoid my pain. And if you go away, I'm going to have to face my pain. And I can't have that. I can't let that happen. So my nervous system will create a never-ending cascade of ruminating, intrusive thoughts to force me to keep going back to that person. Why? Because I'm too scared to face my own pain, to face the wounds, to face the beliefs I have inside myself. So that's how it all works. I hope someone's reached this point watching this video, because it's like, this stuff will change your life. Like, guaranteed. There's not even a question in my mind now that this approach of hacking ourselves through the use of no contact and rectifying, releasing, healing the wounds that we have inside that are driving the addiction to begin with, this process works. No question. If you have agency, if you have the ability to communicate, if you have the ability to hear my voice, if you have the ability to have any self-awareness and choices over your own life, you can choose this path. And if you choose this path, your life will change. Guaranteed. I believe you can do it. And if you're struggling, reach out to me. I'm here. I love helping people. I'm just one DM away. Wish you the best, and peace.